May 2nd. After Mobius I's confirmation as part of the operation, Hector traveled to Ustio to meet the last possible ace that they could hire. He was the most controversial idea that the board had come up with, but it was a clear decision to be made. He was the most skilled against the opponents they're going to be facing. Most people only knew him through a documentary, at least in the mid-2000s. As the liaison plane landed, he was picked up at the airfield and driven straight to a high-security prison in the mountains. There, a security guard allowed Hector in. The prison was surrounded by snipers on posts and guards wielding assault rifles. From there, upon entering, they went to an elevator shaft that led to a second and underground floor.
I know this guy was the best of his time, but is it really worth having him out of prison? What use do they need him for?
The security guard spoke with confusion and mild anger.
Sorry, but that's confidential.
Hector brushed him off.
Look, I can say I'm hesitant myself, but orders are orders. And I can say we might need him.
The elevator arrived on the ground floor. The guard took point walking down the hall. Only the worst of humanity lived down here. Killers, rapists, terrorists, those that didn't deserve the light of day. And neither did this guy. Hopefully, he wouldn't have it for long. The guard walked to the last prison cell. In it, a man leaning against the wall, seemingly unfazed.
Hey! Wake up, you have a guest!
The guard spoke. With it, he looked up, with dim, almost lifeless eyes. What Lumen saw made him flinch slightly. A grizzled mercenary who has fought many battles, with more kills under his belt than those with more service in the military. Some even considering him a hero, but a false one to those who truly knew his story.
He's here. Talk as long as you wish. I doubt he'll accept,
the guard snidely remarked.
And what did you come here for?
The prisoner spoke with a sarcastic tone.
Well, I got good news for you. If you miss the sky, I have an offer you can't refuse.
Unless you would prefer rotting down here and not saying the sky again. Hector's tone didn't convey respect or politeness, but rather an aggressive, disrespectful one, equivalent to an uptight superior looking down on lower ranks. The man in the prison cell didn't exactly appreciate this, but kept listening to his offer.
You can start with letting me out of here. Then I'll listen.
Hector wasn't in the mood to complicate matters, especially not in times as important as this. He gestured to the security guard to unlock his cell. Begrudgingly, he followed suit with Lumen's orders. Unlocking the cell, they ascended to the ground floor, walking out to a table in the middle of a field surrounded by walls. Other prisoners eyeballed the two men. One, a well-dressed high-ranking officer, and another, the most infamous killer at the prison, possibly the world. It was a sight they'll spend weeks talking about. Both of the men sat down at the table, on opposite ends, both of them maintaining eye contact. Suddenly, the prisoner broke silence.
So what's the deal?
This, Cypher, is your chance to see the sky again. Your eagle will be fully restored to peak condition, and will fly for the IUN as a wingman for a special squadron until the operation is over. After that, you will be transported back here with whatever special privileges you ask for.
Mind telling me why you need me of all people? You must be serious if you higher-ups are getting off your comfy chairs and seeing the real world to come see me.
Well, you actually summed up quite a few, I'll say that much. Regardless, let me start by saying you have quite the reputation, don't you? Bombing Belkan, and Ustio civilians, killing escaping pilots. Yet you had to be the one to save the world.
Go figure. Get to the point, will ya?
Nothing stops me from taking my time, so I'll say this once. You know what Belka's done in the past, and we plan to stop it once and for all. And annex it. Cypher smiled with the reasoning given.
Now you're speaking my language. So what can you give me if I play along?
Hector smiled at the attention given to his offer.
After this, no longer life in prison. But you'll still have some time left. Give me a number, and I'll say yes.
Okay, how about 5 years? After that, you're done.
Bullshit! Let me go free once it's over.
It's not like you can get back in there 5 years at a minimum. And that's if you give us your best. If not, then I'll settle for just tossing you back in here. Hector leaned in closer to make one last note clear. Let's face it, you either rot in here or fly against Belka. There was no argument here, and I know you well enough you'll say yes.
which is why I have a Humvee just outside the prison to pick you up. Right now? Cypher replied hesitantly. Yes, right now. We have a deal, so quit prolonging and say yes. You have to practice after all, Demon Lord.
Cypher hesitated briefly, but the answer was as obvious as much as he hated to admit it.
Alright, let's get out of here. As they walked to the outside prison gate, Cypher asked, What is the squad I'll be flying with? Well, given what it represents, and we can't use old names, I know exactly what to call it. See, I believe in fate, Cypher. Even if it doesn't always align, I think now is the time it steps in. And thus, go on.
Hector opened the passenger side door to the Humvee and gestured inside.
Welcome to Sheik's Soul.
Okay, so that wasn't that bad. That only took about an hour to make, and I think it turned out well. So, that would be the last of the character intros, or at least like the very first cutscene you would see. Up next would be the second cutscene for, well, the next cutscene is for Talisman. I don't really know how that's going to handle. I guess it'll be a part of, probably either Cypher's or Mobius' story, because Talisman will be Cypher's first wingman for like the first couple of missions, so I don't really know how we handle that. Again, it's meant for interpretation. It's not going to be perfect. I mean, we'll work on it more later, but it's not. It's a lot of it is meant for interpretation. But I did make an entire like tutorial that basically expands the squadron mechanics of Ace Combat 5, and I'll get to that later, but I want this to be open to actually be made. I know it's it's probably not going to happen, but it would be nice. So, yeah, the next thing will be Talisman. I'm not really sure how I want to tackle that, because to be honest, Talisman requires a lot of dialogue, and this took an hour to make. This was relatively short. This is a 6-minute video, or a 6-minute read. So that took an hour to make, and Talisman's chapter is really long, and it also has a lot of dialogue. So I don't know if you guys want, if you guys want actually, let me know if you want me to subtitle a dialogue. I would at least like to. The biggest reason I've been doing dialogue subtitles is because I want you to know who's speaking, and that's the color text that I've been doing. So, if you can understand what I'm saying fine without subtitles anyway, let me know and just tell me if I need to actually do the subtitles. If not, I could just write who's speaking and their color or whatever, and then end it there, because I mean, I know that it's nice, but these are meant to be drafts, and honestly, we do enough working, like we do enough to write these stories on their own. Don't get me wrong, I like doing it, it's just, I like the way it comes out, it's just, this is a lot of work for something that really isn't that, like, important, if you will. It's not like, it's a project we're doing, but this takes hours of work just to make one of these videos, and it's making it a lot harder to just make them. Because I don't want to spend like 3 or 4 hours making a video that is really just like a 10-minute video of me reading through a script we made or ideas for a game that we have that probably won't even happen. So, I mean, I know AJ is probably going to comment that or tell me what to do, but if anybody else watching this actually gets this part and cares to comment, please let me know. Can you understand what I'm saying? Fine. And if you can, then should I just don't subtitle it, but just say who's speaking? If that's fine, then let me know, because that will make these videos a whole lot easier to make, and probably just more frequent. So I'll actually want to make them. So let me know. Otherwise, I hope you enjoyed. I did like this. I think AJ's doing a good job. Anyway, everybody else, let me know what you think. And anyway, stay frosty, and the price is right. Good day, or good night.